All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today we're zooming all the way in from the massive global footprint of the United States right down to the hidden realities of its geography, its history, and its incredibly vibrant culture. Whether you're analyzing its influence on global economics or you're just daydreaming about a road trip across its massive highways, this is your ultimate structured guide to understanding America.
Now, before we get into the hard data, I want you to look at this quote. The American dream is so much more than a marketing slogan. Millions of people are drawn here every single year by this deeply rooted belief that hard work literally builds your own identity. It's a mindset totally anchored in independence and individuality. Here, success is highly valued, and self-reliance, well, it's just a way of life. To navigate a nation this massive, we've broken our explainer down into a structured journey. We'll be looking at 1. The American superpower. 2. Geography and natural wonders. 3. Culture, cities, and cuisine. 4. A brief American history. 5. How the system works. And finally, 6. Essential travel tips. Let's dive right into Section 1, the American superpower. We're going to start with a big picture to see how this single nation has completely reshaped the world over the last century. Think about this number for a second. 347 million people. That's huge. But its true superpower status really comes from its output, creating a culture of innovation that touches almost everyone on Earth. We are talking about a nation with a 79% literacy rate, home to heavy-hitting universities like Harvard and MIT. And when it comes to tech, this is the birthplace of global giants like Apple, Microsoft, and NASA, the institution that literally put humans on the moon. The economic and technological dominance here is simply undeniable. Okay, moving away from the skyscrapers and technology, let's get into Section 2, Geography and Natural Wonders. Because the sheer scale of the American landscape is breathtaking, spanning 9.88 million square kilometers across 6 different time zones.
It's kind of like a giant puzzle. The country actually breaks down into 8 completely distinct regions. You aren't just looking at one unified landscape. You've got the rocky coastlines of the Northeast, incredibly fertile prairies in the Midwest, which is often called America's heartland, and these vast dry deserts and canyons out in the Southwest. Honestly, each region operates almost like its own geographical universe.
To truly wrap your head around these extremes, just compare these 2 spots. Down in California's Death Valley, you are quite literally baking at 282 feet below sea level. But then, fly up to Alaska's Denali Mountain, and suddenly, you are freezing at over 20,000 feet up in the sky. It's a land of absolute geographical whiplash. Oh, and real quick, here is a super common geographical mix-up we absolutely need to address. Washington State. That is a beautifully forested region tucked way up in the Pacific Northwest, known for mountains and coastlines. Washington, D.C., however, is located entirely separately on the East Coast and serves strictly as the federal capital. 2 completely different places. So, what fuels all this diverse geography? Massive water systems. We're talking lifelines like the Great Lakes and the absolutely massive Missouri River, which stretches 4,088 kilometers. And to protect these natural treasures, the U.S. maintains over 430 national park sites. That includes the jaw-dropping Grand Canyon and, of course, Yellowstone, which is widely recognized as the world's very first national park. Let's zoom in on the human element now with Section 3, Culture, Cities, and Cuisine, to see exactly where this incredible landscape meets modern life. The cities here practically operate like completely different countries. On one coast, you're craning your neck at the 102-story Empire State Building in New York, and on the other, you're taking in the cinematic glamour of Hollywood in LA. You can walk across San Francisco's iconic Golden Gate Bridge, get totally lost in the neon-lit entertainment capital of Las Vegas, or step right back in time with historical echoes like the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia. And the culture here is loud and vibrant, celebrated through these massive events. You've got the cultural melting pot of New Orleans' Mardi Gras, the sheer surreal creativity of Nevada's Burning Man, and huge nationwide holidays like Halloween and Thanksgiving. And hey, you can't talk about American culture without mentioning the food. It is entirely fueled by heavy, ultimate comfort foods. Classic cheeseburgers, perfectly smoked barbecue ribs, creamy mac and cheese, and sweet apple pie. So yeah, definitely bring your appetite and maybe some pants with an elastic waistband, for sure. So how did this impressive infrastructure and deeply diverse culture actually come to be? Let's take a look at Section 4, A Brief American History.
Looking at the timeline, the transformation of this nation has been surprisingly fast and honestly pretty turbulent. It kicks off with European arrival starting in 1492, which tragically led to Native American displacement. Then it jumps to that famous 1776 Declaration of Independence from British rule, formalized by the Constitution in 1788. A crucial, devastating turning point hits between 1861 and 1865 with the Civil War, which finally brought an end to slavery. Following some rapid westward expansion and industrialization, the U.S. quickly emerged in the 20th century as the global Cold War superpower we recognize today. Now, with a history that complex and a population that huge, how does the machinery actually function? Let's unpack Section 5, how the system works. The foundational blueprint of the country is that it's a constitutional republic and a representative democracy. Essentially, citizens don't rule directly. They elect leaders to represent them and make decisions. Furthermore, it operates on a federal system. That just means power is carefully divided between the large national government and the 50 individual, somewhat autonomous states. At the very top, the federal level, power is cleanly sliced into 3 distinct branches to prevent any one group from taking over. First up is the executive branch, led by the president, who runs the administration. Then you have the legislative branch, known as Congress, made up of the Senate and House of Representatives. And their main job is to actually write the laws. Finally, the judicial branch, spearheaded by the Supreme Court, ensuring every single law aligns perfectly with the Constitution. Now, the real glue holding these 3 branches together is a concept called checks and balances. It's an impartial, foundational rule that guarantees power is constantly being monitored and equalized across the government. Basically, no single branch can make a major move without the others keeping a close eye on it, ensuring a continuous balance of power. All right, let's bring all this high-level info right down to street level with Section 6, Essential Travel Tips. Here are some highly practical takeaways if you are planning to experience this country yourself. If you're booking tickets, timing is everything. Because of those incredibly diverse climate zones we looked at earlier, traveling between March and August is generally your best bet for pleasant weather and maximum accessibility. However, if you're well prepared, the winter months offer completely unique experiences. You get the breathtaking fall colors up in the Northeast and some serious, heavy snowscapes out in the Alaskan wilderness. Culturally, there are some unwritten and written ground rules you absolutely must memorize. Tipping 15 to 20% at restaurants isn't just polite, it's fully expected. Americans also highly value their personal physical space, so keep a respectful distance. When you're driving, be sure to strictly follow all traffic laws because they are heavily enforced. In conversation with strangers, it's usually wise to avoid sensitive topics like politics, religion, or security. And honestly, the biggest tip? Because this nation is unimaginably huge, planning a tightly focused itinerary in advance is the real secret to a smooth journey. You simply cannot see the whole shebang in one trip. So, we've scaled the freezing heights of Denali, unpacked the strict political machinery of Washington, and cruised through the bustling neon lights of its iconic cities. You now have a structured understanding of exactly what makes this superpower tick. But the most exciting question remains, considering the sheer scale, the natural extremes, and the vibrant culture, if you could teleport there right now, where exactly does your American journey begin? Think about it and keep exploring.